Hello, coffee breakers, and welcome to my talk on why I think you should consider creating an online challenge. I'm Daniela Saioni, and I built a six-figure online business from scratch in April of 2020, and it all began with a free 5-day challenge. I'll be telling you all about how I did it and how anyone who knows something about something can do it too. Challenges are not a new idea in marketing or in business. You've probably taken a challenge or 2 or 5 yourself. So some of you know exactly how they've worked for you as a consumer. I had taken a few challenges before the world went into lockdown, but during lockdown, I noticed that challenges blew up. I don't know about you, but during lockdown, I was seeking to solve every problem that I could so that I could come out the other end of it a better person. And challenges do just that. They help people learn a new skill or process or solve a specific problem. And they're relatively low cost. As a consumer, I've taken challenges that range anywhere from free to $197, and they involve a pretty low time commitment as well, like from 3 to 30 days. And many promise and deliver on some incredibly useful transformations. If you're someone who wants to start an online business, creating a challenge is a really easy way to dip your toe into the pool and to start to find your audience and engage them so that they will join you either right away or eventually in your higher cost products that solve even bigger problems for them. Let me take you back to how it started for me. In mid-March of 2020, when lockdown hit, I was, how shall we say, effed. I had worked in the film business for 30 years and I was about to go to work on a big show and my show got shut down and I could not pay my rent. Now, I am not always living from check to check like that, but I had come off a really long break of traveling and I was just about to start work again. So I wasn't particularly worried that I didn't have any money at all in the bank until then. Oops. I needed to figure out how to make a living right away without leaving the house. So I took stock of everything I knew how to do, and like many people who tend to watch my content, I had multiple skill sets. But I had been teaching comedy writing classes live here in Toronto between gigs once a year for 8 years, so I decided to try to take that live program online. Now, I had never taught anything online, and worse, my usual audience for the TV writing program was Toronto stand-up comics, who currently had no way of making a living. In fact, I had received several emails from people saying they could not afford my course fee at the time. So I had a problem. If I wanted to make a living teaching my writing class online, I had to find my audience, an audience who did not know me and were probably not stand-up comedians and probably not in Toronto, and prove to them in a very short amount of time that I was their teacher or their coach and that they could trust me with their time and their money. So I decided to create a free 5-day challenge specifically geared to TV comedy writers. Well, great, I knew roughly who my audience was, but what would the actual challenge itself be? When you create a challenge, you want to solve a problem that your audience has. And if you know something about something, which, spoiler alert, every adult human does, you probably have an understanding of what the pain points are that exist in your area of expertise because you have lived through them all yourself. In my own case, one of my pain points as a writer was coming up with the original concept in the first place. Now, I had long since solved that problem for myself and I had even forgotten the pain of it. But I knew this was not the case for many of my students because sometimes potential students would say to me, over and over again actually, when I was teaching my courses live, I'd love to take your class, but I have no idea what I would write about. Maybe when I actually get an idea, I'll take your class. When people in your life ask or tell you the same thing over and over again in one area of your expertise, and you know you can help them with it, that is a big clue for you that you can teach a course or a mini workshop or challenge on it. I decided that my free challenge to attract my specific audience of aspiring TV comedy writers would be called the 5-Day Personal TV Comedy Series Premise Creation Challenge. Personal because it aligns with my goal as a writing teacher to get my students writing about their own lives, something unique to them, because that is the kind of content the market is starved for right now, and it's not a trend that will ever get old. And more importantly, if a new writer sells a script and it's that personal and authentic to them, they cannot easily be removed from the project once they sell it. This challenge idea would not only attract my audience, but if I succeeded, it would solve a substantial problem for them. And incidentally, it was a problem that was a known barrier for them to enroll in my 5-week writing program. the very program I was suddenly trying to sell online. If I could solve that problem for them for free or at a very low cost, and I could prove that I could solve it in a short amount of time, they could only imagine the kind of value they would get in my 5-week course. I knew I was onto something and I knew I could help them. In fact, I was in such a hurry to get this to the marketplace that I began advertising it before I actually wrote the challenge. I spent $10 a day on Facebook ads and created a sales page on a platform that I had just bought before lockdown called Samcart. The rest is history between Samcart and I. We have a long-standing love affair. Now, you don't necessarily need Samcart at all to do any of this, but they sure did make the process very easy. You'll find Samcart content all over my pages, so I'll save that for another day. But for now, hear me out on creating a challenge. The great thing about teaching online is that the world is suddenly your oyster. So I got the word out to multiple English-speaking countries. I was in such a hurry that I only gave myself a week of lead time before day 1 of the challenge, and I got 78 aspiring TV writers in 4 countries, most of whom had never heard of me before, and they registered in the challenge. Now, back then I didn't even offer a prize, just the glory of winning. When I repeated the challenge later, sometimes I would offer the winner a free spot in my 5-week TV writing program. So how my challenge worked is I did an introductory talk to frame the challenge. My talk was called Why Great Pain is Necessary to Great Comedy. That talk reflected my specific approach to comedy writing that is based on our own personal traumas as writers. My approach is unique to me, but something that I had seen make a huge difference, not only to me, but to my students in the classroom. A large percentage of the 78 people in the challenge actually registered for the challenge after watching that talk, because they were able to connect to what I was saying and they were willing to try out my process. The work itself took the challenge participants no longer than 1 hour a day. And on the 5th day, we all convened on a Zoom call, and anyone who wanted to present their premise could do so in 2 minutes or less. And then I declared a winner and did a live Q&A about the whole process, where I could also get feedback from my students about the challenge I had created. Now, I have a confession to make about the first time I ran that challenge. I was writing it as we went along. Every night, I'd come up with the next day's challenge and record a video and create a worksheet. I was literally flying by the seat of my pants that first time, but it was incredible. On day 5 of the challenge, 22 of the 78 people opted to present their premises, and there were so many great ones. And they were all so personal to each student. You could really see many of them developing into TV series. We had a clear winner, and I plastered his name and photo all over social media, and 2 producers randomly asked him to pitch it to them. So it worked. I got feedback from my students on how to make it even better, and my first digital product was born. It worked for my students, and even though it was free, it also worked to pay my rent and then some, because I soon had over 30 people registered in my From Shtick to Script original pilot writing intensive, most of them registering directly from the challenge. I had earned just over $10,000 in a matter of weeks. And since then, using the challenge approach as well as a few others, I was able to build an online business of learning products that consistently brought in at least $10,000 a month for about 12 hours of work a week, all throughout lockdown. But the birth of my online business truly was this free challenge product. I didn't see beyond the idea of having to pay my rent and stay connected to my community and work out intellectual concepts that fascinated me as a comedy writer. I was doing things with intention, but not with the intention of retiring from my day job, because I was now an online entrepreneur, which happened 1 year later. The challenge process is a great one because it requires you as a course creator to think about who your audience is and what problem they need solved. And then it requires you to use the specific knowledge you have to help them solve that problem and make a transformation in a few clear steps. And once they solve that problem, ideally it should lead them to want to solve the next logical step, which is a bigger problem they may or may not even know they had, but one they are now ready to tackle with you. So in the case of my comedy writing students, solving the problem of finding a premise then leads them to the bigger problem of, okay, now I'm excited, I have a premise, but how do I write the actual script? And of course, I had the solution to that ready and waiting for them with my 5-week From Shtick to Script program. And by the way, I had a third level to that afterwards, because what about the students who then wanted ongoing feedback for their script writing as they wrote? I also have a TV Writer's Room product that solves just that problem. And what about Joke Punch Up? I then created the world's only program, as far as I know, that trains writers on punching up screenplays. A huge chunk of the writers I met in my free challenge took each and every one of those programs with me. Now I also teach other programs in film and business as well, which I developed the online versions of after that experience. Some are fueled by the challenge strategy and others by other marketing techniques like sales webinars or live videos. Once you learn how to make money online, it is a repeatable skill and you want to repeat it and apply it to more than one product. It's addictive. As my story illustrates, creating a challenge helps you as a creator find and engage your audience and forces you to come up with a clear process. It's actually a very creative act, and it attracts very creative people who actually want to try new things. In life, I am a process nerd. I love to find streamlined and fun ways to get to a solution. I love to take complex concepts and simplify them into a series of actionable steps. If that is you as well, then you should definitely consider creating a challenge. Now, what if you don't have a product waiting at the other end of your challenge? Don't worry, you still have the need to build your audience whether you have a next product waiting for them right away or not. So, creating and executing your challenge is still a win. It's the way you meet and serve your audience first. Many people create a challenge and then figure out what the next higher ticket course is that they need to create to serve the audience that they now have, because your audience will often tell you exactly what they need. In screenwriting, we have a saying, show, don't tell. And creating a challenge is a way to prove that you are the right teacher for your audience without having to tell them so over and over again through dozens of paid ads. Challenges save you a lot of time and money searching for your audience. In the end, they help lead you to the creation of other products relevant to your audience, and they raise awareness about you and your brand and your methodology in a very short amount of time. I personally like to time out challenge events with the release of bigger products I know I have down the line that are the next step in the process. But you can also have standalone challenge products that you price from $0 to $197 that can be a source of income and audience generation all on their own. The free ones might generate interest in you as a coach, for example, which people pay you for hourly. In fact, it so happened that after my earliest challenges, I booked thousands of dollars in work as a script consultant just because I was visible and putting myself out there and showing people that I could help them. If you do that, in my experience, the conversion rates, the rate of students who then buy into your higher priced products are really high among people who participate in your challenges. I've had challenges that converted at just over 50%, which is generally unheard of. If I've got your wheels turning about this, then you are in luck, because I have a brand new challenge product for people wanting to start an online business who want to start by creating a challenge to attract their audience. It's called the 5-Day Challenge. You can take this challenge solo at any time, or you can take one of my scheduled group challenges where you can compete for 6 months free inside my Coffee Break MBA program, which is a course, coaching, and community for creative solopreneurs looking to launch or grow their online businesses. I'll post the date for the next group challenge below. In this challenge, I'm going to take you through the process of making the choices you need to make to conceive and create a challenge in your niche. At the end of the 5 days, my hope is that everyone has at least one marketable idea and design and marketing plan for a challenge that they can then execute and run with to start an online business. Sound like fun? Then this is exactly for you. Who knows what online success story you will stumble upon for yourself? You might never know until you click below to register. Hope to see you soon.